Hey, what's up, guys? Calling out back with another video, and today I want to talk about the Broncos stadium plans. There are the new stadium plans there. They're actually mostly gonna put in Burning Yard there. They're just not just building the stadium there, but they're building stuff around the stadium there to make it look nicer there. Like there's like a south end and a north end there. Mostly I will actually have the Denver Broncos plans, what they're actually going to do with that stuff there, down in the description below there. So if anybody wants to really want to look at what their plans are and stuff, and it's on the official Broncos website. It's actually on the official Broncos website there. What the plans are they're gonna fully gonna do there for the Burning Yard area there. It looks actually interesting there. It actually has a lot of parks there. One of them looks like a school there. The other ones kind of look like some other stuff there for it. They're still going to keep the railroad there. So I thought this was actually a pretty interesting project where the Broncos are officially going with this project there. Officially going for this project there for the new stadium stuff there. The stadium there is mostly funded by the team there. So the team is mostly privately funded, the stadium there. So the stadium is actually going to be owned by the team there. So the team is mostly paying an arm and a leg there to actually build the stadium there. Other stuff around the stadium there, around the Burning Yard area there, it's just mostly gonna I think the Broncos will not have that much funds on it, but the Broncos are gonna try to do their best to mostly not make this as a new tax there. So they're not gonna try to push this saying, hey, this is not gonna be a new tax there. We're not gonna tax the fans there. We're not going to tax the fans there. This is not going to be a tax there for this project there. But it's not going to be a new tax there. I guess it's not going to be a new tax there. So the Broncos are trying to get around this. They're trying to get more funds on this there. On this Burning Yard project there. It looks pretty interesting there. There's like a lot of parks. There's a lot of like buildings there. A lot of bars, hotels, and you name it there and stuff. And also, I guess there's also a school right there. I saw in the blueprints there was actually a school. I think it was mostly in the south end there. It kind of looks like they're trying to build a school right there. So that's actually interesting what the Broncos can actually fully do with this project. Yes, the team confirmed that it's not going to be more. It's not going to be mostly. It's not going to have no new tax on it. So no new tax on it. That means the team is going to try to do their best there to privately fund this whole thing there. They're going to try to privately fund this whole thing there. So it's mostly going to come out of the owner's paycheck there. It's mostly going to come out of the owner's paycheck, not from the city of Denver. The city of Denver there might have to pay for maybe a little bit of the tax there, and that's mostly what the small boundaries is. Mostly the Broncos are trying to get a lot more funds on this there. So if the Broncos can actually get a lot more funds on this Burning Yard project there to mostly push it there, saying, hey, this is our design there. What do you think about the design? And mostly what they're trying to do there is mostly stuff around the stadium there might be tax. It might be a tax there, but it's not going to be a new tax. It's not going to be new tax. The Broncos are trying to not push this as a tax there. They're trying to make it saying, hey, we own the land there. We own it there. We own it since 2022 before we bought the team there. So why in the heck we want to tax the city there for all the restaurants, bars, and hotels there? And honestly, anybody who doesn't live in Denver there will not understand that there, because other people around the parts of the other parts of the country there saying, oh, well, they're going to tax the stadium. They're going to get taxed there. When technically the Walton Penner there is trying to fund this. They're trying to fund this there. If it's fun there, that means it's coming out of the owner's pocket there. So they're trying to do everything to fund this there, fund this project there. And it actually, this is not the stadium itself there. The stadium is primarily owned there by the Walton Penner there. So technically, the Walton Penner will still have to pay through the stadium rights and stuff like that. And the stadium rights there, and they're mostly going to pay it out there through funds there. So that's what it is there for this burning yard project there, and it's not going to mostly going to affect the city of Denver there. If Denver actually fully goes with this project, there. But yeah, the plans there look pretty interesting there. What they're actually fully gonna do there in 2027, or not 2027, but in 2031. But I think they're mostly gonna start doing destruction zone around the barnyard area by 2027 there. So by 2027 there, the team is mostly gonna get a lot more funds there. Mostly if this doesn't go all the way through there, the Broncos are just gonna expand in Power Field. No matter what there, the Broncos are possibly going to go expand in Power Field until this project fully gets done there. Mostly the stadium there, that's going to be, 5 years? 5 years until the stadium gets fully built there. So yes, 5 years until the stadium gets fully built. But mostly looking at all that stuff there, adding parks, a school and stuff, it might be taking a little bit more years there. So if they start it this year, it kind of does make sense if they start it this year or next year, possibly in 2027 there, so they can actually add the parks, they added the schools, and added all that stuff there, the bars, the hotels, everything there. By 2027 there, it kind of makes sense there to mostly build it around 2027 there, because by 2031 there, the stadium will be fully built there. But by 2031, that whole section will be built also if they start it in 2027. If they start destruction in 2027 there. So yeah, that's what it is there for it. If the Broncos don't have that much fun, they have to take a state tax on that. And something is kind of bad there, even where I technically live there in Colorado. There, mostly I know I live in Colorado, but I live like 2 towns behind Denver. Even it will still affect people, even people around my town might be affected if the Broncos can't get enough funds on this project there. So what do you guys think about this there? About the Broncos possibly funding this thing there? They're trying to. What do you think about this? This thing there. It's going to be linked down in the description below. What do you think? And comment if you look at it there. Just comment back and say, I don't know about this, or I like this, or I don't like this there. Leave it down below in the comment section below and see how you think about this burning yard project, what the Broncos are actually fully going to do. So, yep. Comment, rate, my response to videos. We like what Please subscribe for the notification on the simple as your listeners. Comment, my response to videos. Carrying out. Out of your peace.